Okay guys, it's been over a year probably since we did a video on a pinball machine. This is our latest piece of work, and Mike and I have been working on this off and on for half a year, 3/4 of a year, something like that. So this is a Star Trek. It was a pretty grungy machine when Mike got it, and it has been completely rebuilt and upgraded, and we're going to take you through and show you kind of what we've done on that. But to start off with, we put our LED mod in, and the lights back behind the back glass, you can see, look really great. They're nice and smooth, no hot spots, and that's because we used an LED strip light in the back of that to power that. Right now the whole table is in dim mode because we're in attract mode. So anyway, since we're in attract mode, it's dimmed down. But as soon as we start a game, Mike, why don't you go ahead and hit the start game button, and you'll see the thing will brighten way up. And that's what it looks like when it's in a regular game. So I'm going to turn on the lights now. I just had them off so that we could see what the box looked like. Mike is going over there, and I'm going to come around. So on this table, we decided that we would cut our own stencils and paint the table instead of putting vinyl on. We will never do that again. That was a lot of work. A lot of touch-up work after the work, and it still needs some more touch-up. I'm not going to show you the spots, but all in all, it looks pretty good now. So we have a nice-looking table. Playfield has been replaced. We've actually added 4 lights. The back glass was marked with player 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I think this is supposed to show you how many people are playing, but right now we're just mirroring the which player is up. So since the first player up is on, this light is also on. In the original thing, there were no lights back there. There was holes and there was stuff in the back glass, but there were no lights. So anyway, the table looks really good, and we'll take you into the inside and show you all of the changes we did. We've taken out the coin slots. This is going to be a free play game, so we've removed the coin slots and put in these plastics in their place. And if Mike, if you would open up the inside, we've added 1 switch on the inside to add credit. So the front one, I believe, is the test switch. That was always there, and then we just added the credit switch there. Probably by the time we get all done, this thing will automatically do credits, and we won't have to mess with that switch. But for now, it's a convenient way to add credits. The stuff that we've done under here is similar to all the other tables that we've worked on. You can see our LED strips right here that we've put in. We have actually some new style strips. But these are the old style, and the new style is just a lot easier for us to solder. I'll show you one of those later. One of the other things I wanted to show you was that we created a special light for the rollovers. So underneath this square is a rollover, and underneath this one is a rollover. And I have one of these squares over here. And you can see that it's got 3 LEDs mounted on it, evenly spaced, 120 degrees apart. And we can do animations and stuff on that. And there are some animations set up on this table that we'll show you once we get it all back down and in play mode. So other than that, this table is pretty much normal, except for a couple of other little things. One is this board right there. We did not build that. That came with the Playfield, and we'll show you the effect when we turn it over. But on the Enterprise nacelles, they've added a couple of lights to the end of the nacelles to simulate the engines running. These two little cables just run to a couple of extra switches that they've mounted in. One of them is right here. You can see the little blue wires going to that. And so when you roll over that, it activates it. And then the other one is down on the ball drain that tells you that it's over and to reset it. So the other thing we've done, and this is potentially temporary, is the switches on the pop bumpers were way too sensitive, and we removed the capacitors because we think those capacitors were adding to that sensitivity. If need be, we will go ahead and put those back. We've also added a couple of capacitors to places like the rollover lane guides here. We've added a couple of capacitors to that to make them a little more sensitive so that when you roll over them, they get activated. But other than that, the table is pretty much the same on the bottom as any other table. And the one other thing we've done is down in the bottom here, you can see we've installed a power outlet with 2 outlets on it, and those are for the power supplies that we've added. And that is connected into the switched power supply. So, and we have not dressed the cables yet, so we need to do that. But it comes over and it mounts into the regular switch that powers the thing off and on. So when you turn that on, those outlets come on, that activates the power supplies for the backlight and for the LED strings that we've added. So that's it on the bottom. The top of the Star Trek table, this is a brand new playfield. However, we have done a few modifications even to the new playfield. And I'm sorry if there's glare on this, but those clear coat polish on there makes it really hard not to get glare if you got lights anywhere around. But let me point out, the first thing is these are the lights I was talking about. I showed you the board at the bottom, and once we start a game, we'll show you how those work, or how they're supposed to work. They're actually not working quite right yet. And the other thing we've done, and we'll show you this later, is up here are the rollovers, and we actually drilled out the original rollovers that were on this table and replaced them with clear rollovers so that we could change the colors of them and do special effects like the effects that you're seeing now. So you'll see rotating lights and sometimes flashing white like that. Anyway, and that's all triggered by this extra ball light right here. So when the extra ball light lights up, that goes into its mode. Now, we are in a track mode, so all of the LEDs are dimmed down. That's a feature of our software package. And on the back box, here are the LED strips I was mentioning earlier, and those dim down also. So they're not as bright as when you actually start a game. So Mike, why don't you start a game, and we'll see the lights all popped up. Those are really bright now, and on the table you can see all the LEDs have brightened up, and these have gone into solid orange, and they will stay solid orange. Let's see if I can get it where there's no glare on it. So they'll stay solid orange until you light that light. So you can see as he's advancing that thing, there you go. Now it's attracting you, saying, hey, win an extra ball, shoot up here, see me, see me. Anyway, and then as soon as you get it, it goes back to orange and life is good. Let me show you this effect, which is kind of neat. I'll get down in here. When you originally roll over the rollover and back down, the first time out, the switch is not sensitive enough. Just do it with your finger. The first time out, when you go across that, it says, oh, there's a ball out on the table, and then it starts flashing. I don't know if you can see that even in here because everything else is so bright. but it rotates around and flashes and just kind of indicates that you've done something. So it's pretty neat. And you have to hit it twice, once to like arm it and then once to fire it off. So yeah, so it didn't see it that time. We're probably going to have to add a capacitor or something to that switch that they've added in there, but we haven't done that yet. So
notice the light simulators just kind of point there.
yeah, well, if you look underneath the things, you can see that we've shown you these before, but these are just clear plastic rods that run down to our little LED boards on the bottom to bring the light up to the top and simulate an LED bulb. So anywhere where we think you need a bulb, we have some of those sticking up back there. So that looks really, really good. Now let's look inside the back box, and we'll show you what we've done in here. So these LEDs are the LED. So these LED strips that light up the glass are powered by 24 volts. And that 24 volts is controlled by this little card right here. So the 24 volts is coming up from the power supply down in the bottom, and the output from that is going to that strip out there, and the little black and white wires go up to the microprocessor we put in, and that controls the intensity of it, so we can dim it down, have it on full brightness, or turn it off. In the case of a tilt, this table will turn off. Don't tilt it until I move back. It'll turn off these lights and turn all the rest of the lights on the playfield red. So let me get back here and Michael tilt it. Did you tilt it?
I did. Let's try it again.
There you go. So all the lights on the playfield have turned red. The back box is turned off. Now when the ball drained, it all came back on. So that's just a positive indicator that you screwed up when you tilted. Okay. So what else have we done, Mike? Anything else to show on here? Could mention that we have Altec microprocessor and solenoid driver board in there, and then our little LED driver board to replace the LED or the lamp driver boards that Bally would have had in there. And there's our 5-volt power supply that feeds 5 volts to that board, and those little yellow connectors are our 5-volt distribution to the LED strips. The LEDs work best if you have 5 volts injected at a couple of different places. And lastly, you probably didn't notice it from the front, but we have our own display boards that we've built that replace the Bally boards with solid state boards, and they work really good. It's going to look like it's flashing on here, but to human eyes it looks perfect. And that's pretty much about it. Same old Bally power supply as always. We did have to repin a few connectors because they were in pretty bad shape, but other than that, the box was pretty easy to rebuild. Mike wanted me to point out the fact that on the original playfield, this was the plastic that was on the playfield, but the manufacturer of the playfield offered a different plastic with 7 and 9 on it, so that's the one that Mike chose to have on his game. So we've got it set up, and Mike is going to play a game now, so I think we're ready to go. I'll get back over here. And that's it. So that's how the game plays. Everything seems to be working perfectly. You could see the pop bumpers are working fine without those capacitors in it. So that's all really, really good. Yeah, so I know it's been a long time, and this is a pretty short video considering we've spent 6 months working on this. But, you know, you've seen us paint and you've seen us wire and stuff, so you didn't miss a lot. But there is one last thing that I want to show you, and that is the tool we use to drill out the rollover targets. So hold up while we set that up. Okay, here is the old Star Trek playfield, so you can see what it looked like before we started our modification. I mean, the playfield wasn't in horrible condition, but anyway, the new one is much, much better. And if you look up here, you can see the old pop bumpers. Rollovers, excuse me. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. So the old rollovers. So Mike's going to show you this tool he has. First, there's a little metal puck that aligns with the center of the thing. Do I need to hold that for you?
No, I mean, just show it. Okay,
so that gives you perfect alignment because it aligns on the center of the drop target, of the rollover. Yeah, so it lines, and then...
Let's use this one.
Okay, yeah, don't have to reach up so high. Then this piece of metal clamps over that. And we clamp that down with a C-clamp. And then we remove that's a C-clamp, flesh-colored C-clamp. And then we use a Forstner bit that's exactly the size of that to sit there and drill the plastic out directly to depth. Now you might wonder, why the heck are we doing all of this work? And the answer is that when these new playfields come to us, they build them, they put the rollovers in, and then they clear coat it. And the clear coat gets down inside the thing, and the little white stars that are supposed to float up and down in there don't float anymore. And you're supposed to be able to pick that stuff out real easily. We spent over 3 hours on one and did not get it cleaned out enough to work. And we gave up on that and decided it wasn't worth it. Plus, we wanted the option of adding our own color to it instead of using the default colors that they came with. So these were orange, and we kept them orange, but we can make them white when we want to, or any other color, red when you tilt. So that gives us the option to play with it. So anyway, that's the one thing that we've done that's completely brand new that we've never shown anybody before. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys.